Okay, good afternoon, everyone. For the observant people amongst you, you may notice a very different background in today's video. That's because I'm at Mum and Dad's place today. Reason I'm here is that the next 3 days I'll be doing what I enjoy most, and that's playing croquet. Tomorrow is a training day for the state team. I'm in reserve for the state team this year. But due to Pete being busy tomorrow for work, I'm the man as far as coaching's concerned. So that's going to be an interesting day for me and all of the fellow teammates there. I hope they enjoy their day. So the other thing that's different today is that I'm running off my notebook. It's a HP Stream 13. It's a very new device that's on the market. It was only cost $300, but it's a terrifically small, light device. And while I wouldn't want to do a lot of programming on it, I don't need to, because I use remote desktop to get into my main machine at home. I'll cover more about remote desktoping in a future how-to video, but more about that later on. So let's move into the question and answers. I've just looked up the clock. I'd like to keep this to around 10 minutes. Last week's went to about 18, which I feel was probably a bit too long for most, although I didn't hear otherwise. Okay, so on to question and answers. Joshua, 14. Yes, the first repeat question and answer person. Joshua's first question is, what is your general goal for the long run? E.g., what products will you want to develop? There'll be more about that towards the end of after the question and answer session, Joshua, because I did make some decisions this week about that. When your question came in, I still wasn't quite sure, but I made some decisions over the week, during the week. Joshua's second question is, this is more of a suggestion, but you might like to wear either your Mr. Happy or your Mr. Grumpy shirt, depending on your mood after the week. Well, Joshua, I've taken that on board, and today, unfortunately, I'm wearing my Mr. Grumpy shirt. I'm Mr. Grumpy for two reasons. I'm actually quite happy, but I was Mr. Grumpy. I put that on this morning, ready for today's video, because the past 24 hours I've had some stomach problems. More about that later in the video. And then to make sure that the grumpy shirt was appropriate, I tried to do this video earlier this morning at home, but Google Hangouts wouldn't play ball. It said that it didn't want to listen to my microphone. I rebooted the computer and then it would just hang every time that I went into Google Hangouts. So I don't know what that was about. But this little low-end laptop, well, that seems to be working today, although it does look a bit grainy, but I think that's more to do with the light. So yes, it's Mr. Grumpy shirt, but as I said in an email to you before, when you sent me through this question, I hope to wear out the Mr. Happy shirt before the Mr. Grumpy shirt. So others might be wondering, how does Joshua know that you've got a Mr. Grumpy and a Mr. Happy shirt? Well, Joshua 14 is actually my nephew, so for those wondering that. Okay, we now move on to Reese from Yowie Bay, and Reese is a schoolmate of Joshua's, so I assume he too is 14. I'm guessing they're in the same year. And Reese, I know, is looking to get into the IT industry and asked this following question. I was wondering what programming languages you are using in your websites and what language you may be teaching in the future. Reese, that's a really good question. I am now predominantly programming in C# for the back end. That's a Microsoft.NET language. The current croquetschools.com website is largely VB.NET, But over 12 months ago or so, I switched over to using C# purely because virtually all the examples and questions that you'll see on sites like stackoverflow.com, just everything on the internet has far more information for C# than it does for VB.net. So that's why I made the switch over to C#, just to make things easier when I needed help or was learning things. And as I said, that's for all of the back end stuff, and at the moment for the front end too. However, I'm now moving in for the front end, so for the actual web pages themselves, I'm moving to AngularJS, which is JavaScript based. And if you were looking for a language to start to learn, look, I think it's important to have a wide variety of languages up your sleeve, and I've got 3 or 4. But if I was to pick one out for a new person today, then JavaScript would be the language that I would choose. The reason I would pick JavaScript is that it is so widely used in so many different products. I mean, it's virtually the only language to be used within browsers, and any other language that you do use that's used as a browser gets transposed down into JavaScript. So why not just write at the JavaScript level? What I mean by that is, for example, there's a language called CoffeeScript. It's very different to JavaScript in the style that it's written in. However, at the end of the day, it converts itself into JavaScript before you distribute it onto your web server. So yeah, the other thing is, nowadays with Node.js, which also has a fork across to IO.js, that is JavaScript based as well. And yeah, if I was starting out today, I would simply go straight to JavaScript and really learn that. I really don't think you can go wrong with that. I'm sticking with C# for the back end because that's what I'm very productive in and that I know very well. However, I expect in a year or two, there's a possibility that I will move to JavaScript for my back end using Node.js or IO.js. I just don't want to take on too many changes in one step, so that's why I haven't gone there yet. Okay, so moving on to our third and final question for today. It's from Derek from Potts Point, or Horden House, who I used to contract for. And Derek asks, I'm not keen on watching the videos. Is there a text version of what you post? And the answer to that is no. I am keen in the future to find someone to do transcribing for me in the future. If anyone who currently is watching these videos that would like to do the transcribing for me, please contact me, and we can talk about a small fee to do that. These are all free, as you know. So I really don't have the money to fork out for big rates for transcribing. But if you want, maybe hint, Joshua and Reese, if you want a little bit of pocket money, maybe you'd like to do some transcribing of these videos for me. It'd just be just need to type it up into an email, send it on to me, and I'll look up after it from there. Okay, so as I said, to Joshua's first question about what product will I want to develop, etc. Well, I have made some decisions this week, as I indicated before. So the decisions that I've made are as follows. I'm going to start doing a second video on a weekly basis. and it will be a how-to video. It'll vary from being more consumer-based video as to how to configure your computer properly, how to use Trello, which I use for my to-do management, etc. That's actually likely to be my first video. But there will be a bigger slant on writing code. So I imagine that Reese will be happy to hear that, but I hope others will find that useful as well. These videos will be a training ground for me as to the process as to how to create training videos. In the long term, I'll move into producing the videos more professionally and charging for them in one means or another. The second decision that I made during the week, which really has been on the cards for quite some time now, but it's I'm definitely going to go ahead with it, is that I'm going to become a WordPress hosting company. So WordPress is a blogging system and content management system, and I'll be providing services for people who want to host their websites using WordPress. I've still to sort out many details about that, of course, but I will be going ahead with that project. And then finally, I've decided that I'm going to work on what I'm calling the family of croquetschools.com websites. By that I mean I'll create other websites of a similar vein. For starters, it will be gateballschools.com. I registered that domain some time ago, and should anyone stumble across these videos and have a sporting organisation that needs scoring systems, then please contact me and I'll work with you on that. There's several reasons why I chose Croquet Schools family websites to work on, and it's not for financial reasons. It probably is the worst financial decision I could make, I must admit. However, I am going to work on it for the following reasons. One is that I really enjoy working on croquetschools.com. I understand the domain, meaning I understand what's required, and that makes it working on it very easy. And I'm a croquet tragic, and I like watching the scores and commentaries come in on various events around the world. And so any way that I can improve the system to do that, I'm very keen to work on. So I'm working on the family of websites, as I said, but as a part of that process, I'll also be able to add improvements to the existing croquetschools.com website. And there are a number of items that I want to work on for that. Thirdly, I did say that it's probably not the highest profit choice that I could have made, but I believe that there are advertising dollars that can be chased down for Croquet Schools and its family of websites. And so I'll be doing that, and the work with the WordPress web hosting, those two things in together should be a nice little earner for us. The fourth reason why I'm choosing to do this is that I am confident that gateballschools.com is wanted out there in the market. Croquet Schools is used by gate ballers for their tournaments, and I believe if they had their own website, then even more would come on board. Gate ball is huge in the Asian market, and while no one in the Asian market has used croquet scores, I believe that there's every possibility that if there's a gate ball scores that they will come on. And I spoke to the world chairman of gate ball more than 12 months ago now, and he seemed very keen to promote the subject. And look, as I've my last start again. So as I already mentioned, I do understand croquetscores.com, and that's that therefore makes it a perfect vehicle for me to learn AngularJS. AngularJS, as I mentioned earlier while answering Reese's question, is a relatively new framework. It's a JavaScript framework produced by Google for websites, and it's taken the world by storm. It will provide many benefits to croquetscores.com and other websites, and it's always ideal to learn a new language and or framework when you're working with a product that you understand, because then all you're doing is learning the language as opposed to trying to learn the language and the product that you're trying to write for. So using croquet scores for that will be really good. So I think I'm getting closer to the 18 minutes that I did last week, but just to wrap up now, so the one personal item that I'd share with you each week, well, this week it's a bit of a downer note, unfortunately. So many of you will know that I have diabetes. I have done for over 10 years now, and I've hit what's probably my first complication of it, which is I have gastroparesis. Basically, it means that my stomach doesn't empty itself as well as everyone else's. So I need to eat smaller meals. And since the diagnosis of the gastroparesis, 6 months ago now, that's been working well for me. But I had another bad session on Tuesday night, as I had done about 4 weeks ago. Now, I know for sure on Tuesday night that I had a glass of mineral water that I've not had for a very long time. And in fact, I'm pretty sure, I'm 90% sure that the last time I had a glass of mineral water was the night that I had a bad night with the gastroparesis 4 weeks ago. So no more mineral water for me. No big deal. But as I said in a tweet, I don't like mineral water that much that I'm going to scientifically prove it one way or the other. I'm just going to stick away from it from now on. So that's enough from me today. Look out for next week. I hope to post my first how-to video, and certainly on Friday I will be doing my week in review, and that will be number 4. This was number 3. Thanks very much. Have a good weekend, everyone.